Families go hungry due to UK welfare cuts, report says. The UK government is violating its obligations to ensure families have enough food to live on, according to a new report from Human Rights Watch. HRW said austerity-motivated cuts to the country's welfare system since the Conservative Party took power in 2010 have left thousands of families with children without adequate food. As a result, the report delved into food insecurity in Hull, Cambridgeshire, and Oxford, 3 areas of England with high deprivation levels. HRW visited the areas to document how welfare changes and cuts to government funding have impacted Britons, conducting 126 interviews with families, volunteers, and staff at food banks. The group, also, dependence on charitable aid, has surged in the last 10 years with a 5,146% increase in emergency food packages distributed, the report said, citing statistics from the Trussell Trust, the UK's largest national food bank charity. One 23-year-old mother from Hull revealed she has skipped meals so her 4-year-old daughter can eat, according to a statement from HRW. When HRW outlined 3 key reasons hunger has skyrocketed in Britain. The group analyzed. The report also condemned the overhaul of the welfare system known as Universal Credit, a government program for people on low incomes that replaces many previous benefits and tax credits, combining them into a single payment. Thirdly, the report slammed the UK government's apparent snub of growing. A government spokesperson rejected the report's findings as misleading, in a statement to CNN. It's